Harnessing the power of social media as an applicant to a selective college or university in the United States. Today, we talk TikTok. My name is Craig Meister. I'm a college admissions coach. You can learn more about me on my website and learn how to work with me one-on-one throughout the entire college admissions process on my website, which is collegemeister.com. In this series, we've already talked about LinkedIn, and we've also talked about Instagram and to some extent YouTube. And today we talk TikTok. TikTok is right in the middle of the series because honestly, there are pros and there are cons, and they're quite noticeable pros and they are quite noticeable cons to me. The overall premise here is, should you have social media presence? And if so, where? In a way that will augment your chances of getting into your dream colleges. And for LinkedIn and for Instagram and to a lesser extent YouTube, I discussed a good number of pros and some cons, but primarily pros, especially with LinkedIn, and slightly fewer pros with Instagram, but for very specific niche audiences, it can work beautifully. With TikTok, again, I'm sort of torn down the middle. TikTok is obviously a go-to site for digital native students in this day and age. And students who know how to edit and harness the power of TikTok can make really compelling art on TikTok. However, TikTok has some drawbacks. TikTok, you can go on at length for a while. And that, of course, increases the risk that you say something or produce something that could rub someone the wrong way in an admissions office in the event they're reading your application and they're like, this kid's too good to be true. Let me look him or her up on Google or on DuckDuckGo or whatever other search engines they're using. Bing, I think, may still be in business. But whatever the case may be, they type your name in, and one of the first results is your TikTok profile or page, and they go to your TikTok page, or they maybe even just search directly into TikTok for you and your name. And the risk, of course, is that similar to some of the concerns I had with Instagram, that maybe you're making a reel, or in this case, again, a TikTok video that could have a lot of innuendo, inside jokes, things that may be somewhat immature, like a normal 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old would maybe joke with friends about, but now you're putting it on film and sharing it on YouTube, in this case, not YouTube, but on TikTok. You could definitely alienate individuals. So my approach, similar to my approach if you're going to have profile pages on other social media sites, would be that if you're going to do TikTok, you got to have a very clear focus and mission statement in your mind, even if you don't write it out, of why you're doing this. What is the point? Now, in most cases, you're going to have probably a TikTok that is branded to you and your name, though theoretically, you could also have a TikTok that would be branded according to some group you're a part of, and maybe multiple players or multiple individuals contribute to this TikTok, and sort of it's like a team effort. But whatever you do, you got to think long and hard before you start wading into the waters that are TikTok, because TikTok, can go viral very quickly. And even if you ultimately have second thoughts and delete your page, maybe others will have copied it and posted on their TikTok. It will be out there in the ether. And so it's very important that if you do TikTok, that it's got to have focus. And what I mean by focus is, let's say you are a comedian. Well, does your humor resonate with everyone? That's always a risk. It might not. Or let's say you're, someone who does like sort of funny live action memes, if you will. Is this going to be something that in any way rubs someone the wrong way? You can alienate someone. I keep using the word alienation. Doesn't get your humor. That would not be good. Now, if you're not humorous and you just want to do TikToks about timely events, I mean, there are some very viral TikTok videos that simply discuss current events or current happenings for citizens in the countries where they're being made. You could do that too, but again, I would have a very clear focus. Like, do you want to talk about politics? If so, again, there's a risk there. It's very possible that your politics could not align perfectly with the admissions officers of the colleges on your school. So this is a high wire act. Do you want to talk about the economy and how hard it is to afford things as a 17-year-old student who has a part-time job? you could come out there and have very strong opinions about it. But again, it's very likely you'll have a strong opinion. And once you have strong opinions, there is the risk that someone could find it too harsh or too nasty or too rough or too this. People are very sensitive today. So it's a risk. I mean, it's definitely a risk. There could be great reward if you pull off, again, I use the word a lot, professional level videos or takes on topics that are important to you. But there's also great risk that you don't, it falls flat and it really comes across as like, is this the kid who wrote this application? This application is otherwise beautiful and thoughtful and maybe even humorous at times, but now this kid is getting a little too something on TikTok. If they see that. Again, some colleges do allow you now to put URLs to your social media on the application formally in a URL section. Others on their supplement, others will of course welcome in a resume upload or any sort of resume, medium-sized resume that you copy and paste into the additional information section of the Common Apps writing page. Of course you can put a link to your URL if you're proud enough to do so. But even if you're not proud enough to do so, I definitely don't recommend having a TikTok page if you wouldn't be proud to have that shared, because it's very possible they could somehow find it and that could be considered for better or for worse if you're applying to a selective college or university. So you need to be very proud and hopefully on brand with who you're presenting yourself as on your college application if you do foray into the world of TikTok. I should say that if you are going to put together an awesome extracurricular resume, and I would go so far as to say an extraordinary extracurricular resume, I strongly recommend you click below this video to my link to my very short course called, aptly, How to Build an Extraordinary Extracurricular Resume. You can purchase it for just a few dollars, and it's less than an hour in length. And you're going to learn how to put together actually the correct genre of resume for a college application, an extracurricular resume for the purposes solely of a college application. The format is such where it's very targeted to that. The college resumes that many English teachers in high schools share with students, the templates and the ones that you find online are 99 times out of 100 templates for boring, generic, vanilla, professional resumes. They are not extracurricular resumes for the purposes of a college application. The course that I am right now talking about, that's linked below this video, is actually a course that teaches you how to put together a beautiful, an extraordinary extracurricular resume for the purposes of your application to a selective college or university. But that is a tangential thought. Right now, I want you to be sure that if you're going to go in on TikTok, you're really going to have to write a little mission and almost like a business plan before you do it. So that you stay focused, you stay on topic. Otherwise, you could veer into trying to get likes or virility. Virility. Is that the right verb? Virility? You want to become viral, not necessarily virile. That's separate. That's something you don't have to worry about for the purposes of, maybe you do if you really. Anyway, the point is, you don't want to do, you want to become viral. And so that's the goal of a lot of kids. Once they're on there, they're like, I want to be viral. But if you're just chasing being viral, I won't say that word again. If you just want to chase being viral, you're maybe going to get off message and you're going to lose your mission. You're going to lose your focus because you're just chasing likes or views. And that is not the goal here. If you're going to have a social media, as I've mentioned in previous videos in the series, your goal is not to get the highest number of views or likes, though obviously that would be a lovely upshot. That's not the goal. The goal is to put out in the world of the virtual world more content that aligns with the person you're presenting yourself as in your college application that makes them like you that much more. If there's a chance it's going to be a net neutral or a net negative, do not. And again, with TikTok, because moving imagery is, I think, riskier than static imagery, i.e. Instagram, and TikTok is all moving imagery, and it's often your words or your actions. You've got to be very careful to curate a page or videos that put your best foot forward. Some students can do it, but they are often very savvy socially individuals. And so those are the ones those are the only ones, frankly, regardless of if you're an athlete, an artist, an actor, a performer, you're behind the camera or in front of the camera, you gotta be extremely socially savvy, I think, to pull off TikTok. Now, with that said, as dangerous or risky as TikTok could be, um, it's not, I don't think, as risky as the final two we're going to be talking about later in the series. And the positives of TikTok, of course, is that it would go to figure that you're a teenager in the 2020s and you are on TikTok. I mean, that's believable. Like, that's a believable thing. A lot of teenagers are on TikTok. And so for many of them, I would probably recommend that they delete their TikTok before they start applying to college, because their TikToks are probably not produced in a way where it's well thought out, like I'm discussing today. But if you actually went into TikTok organically with a mission in mind and have adhered to doing you, as they say, like you do you, march to the beat of your own drummer, but definitely make sure that it's professional and is as attractive to all audiences as possible, that again could be a real positive for your college application if they catch it on the fly, offline, or if you actually share it proactively as a part of your application. You want to make sure it's something you're proud of. All right, so I've said this multiple times in multiple different ways. TikTok could go definitely either way. There's not one particular type of student I would say that definitely would thrive in it or not, other than that I think you have to be extremely socially savvy, because it's the one where, you don't want to get too niche, because the admissions officers that are reading your app are individuals you don't get to pick. They may not fit your niche if you get too niche. And so you need to ultimately have something in mind that you can still be who you are, but you have to be able to be approachable and understandable, decipherable, and frankly, again, likable enough to the broadest spectrum of individuals possible, because that full spectrum could be in the admissions office and ultimately viewing your TikTok if they want to double check you, or even if you proactively share it. Obviously, if you're going to start proactively sharing a link to TikTok on your college application, it sure as heck better be well curated by that point. It's one thing if you're just being stubborn and refuse to delete your TikTok, but you don't share it proactively, then at least I could give you sort of like a pass that, oh, well, like you're just stubborn, but you didn't at least proactively share it. But if you're proactively sharing it, then you've completely opened yourself up to be judged on everything you're putting on that page. And therefore, you got to be really sure that it's of high and professional quality in my mind. Like professional for the perspective of obviously, a top 10%, top 5% type of savvy social teenage kid. All right. All right. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about my thoughts related to Instagram, as well as related to LinkedIn, which was my favorite so far, you can find those videos linked below this one. And later in the series, again, we're going to talk about two that are even more risky than TikTok, believe it or not. Hold on, stay tuned. Until next time, my name is Craig Meister. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel and also give it a thumbs up. And also, if you want to work with someone like me who's been doing this for many years, as you can see now, I have some white hair, maybe too much. 18 years I've been doing this as of this filming, and you want to work with someone throughout the college admissions process, you may want to work with me. Go to my website, collegemeister.com. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and most importantly, stay stress-free throughout the entire college application process.